Today we have the RM34, 34-inch or 860mm wide stadium rotary mower. This was originally designed for markets of vacuuming, so vacuuming debris after games on many sports pitches. But also for cutting. We're seeing a big requirement now for cutting, very fine topping of pitches. But also not just in the stadium markets, but also in schools, in cricket. It's where stripes and presentation are really important. So today we're looking at the ALLETT RM34, 34-inch wide stadium rotary mower, 34 inches wide or 860mm. So the RM34 is fitted with a 1.1 litre unleaded standard fuel tank. We also have oil here. Oil comes out, we have a dipstick, both with minimum and maximum on there. You will find over time that the RM34 will use oil over a period because the engine, once started, is running at maximum RPM. There's no halfway or 3/4 of a way. As soon as we start the engine, we're up to maximum RPM straight away. So it's either 100% running or off. The RM34 is a very versatile rotary mower. We have infinitely variable height adjustment, so we can go down as low as 15mm and we can go up to a maximum of 75. The width of the mower, we have two 18-inch blades under here turning in this direction, bringing the material to the middle, up the chute and into the grass bag. The outside of the wheels, both on the front, on the right hand side and on the left hand side, is effectively, the blade is in line with the rear roller. So we can use the front wheels to judge the width of cut, the width of stripe and the width of overlap. The engine is moved a few degrees round so that when we're operating, the front wheels are very clearly visible both on the left and the right hand side. So the RM34 is fitted with two 18-inch high lift blades, so we get a lot of suction from this machine, sucking the grass vertical, cutting it and into the grass bag. So we're also collecting a lot of debris at the same time. What we've found is, over the years of trying this machine in different environments, different pitches, different scenarios, is that because this is cutting differently to a cylinder, this is a swinging blade, we actually find that if you're cutting your pitch or your cricket square or your formal lawn at, say for example, at 25mm, if we go on and if we set this mower at 25mm, as it says on the height bracket at the side, it actually means, because the nature we're sucking the grass vertical, we'll actually be taking a lot more off than we would with a cylinder. So general rule of thumb is if you're cutting at 25mm or 35mm on a pitch or a lawn, you always want to be 5mm higher than what you're physically cutting with your cylinder mowers. That, working out with using prisms generally on different pitches, is the way that we work it. So if we were cutting 25mm on this pitch, to get this to cut at 25mm, because with nature as we're sucking the grass vertical, is that we want to set this then to 30mm. So you always want to be 5mm higher. To adjust the height on the mower, we adjust the right hand side and we adjust the left hand side. What we never do is we never set the height of this mower on a pitch. We always want to be on a hard level surface in a shed, somewhere where you know that it's level, because what we're doing is we're lining up the front and rear roller and making sure that both sides are parallel. Okay, so to adjust the height on the RM34, I have an adjuster on the right and I also have an adjuster on the left. I have a locking nut here, so I release the locking nut, screw that up. Once I've screwed that up, if I turn this screw anti-clockwise, that lowers the machine. Clockwise, that raises the machine. And we have a scale, again, raising from 15mm up to 75mm. And if I turn, you'll see clockwise that the machine is rising, and you'll see you turn it until you get your desired height appearing in the center of the window down here. So once as you've done that, you've got your desired height, you then lock the locking screw up, so that stops that rod moving. We then do the same on the opposite side. So if we set this now to 35mm on both sides, we'd actually be cutting 30mm on the pitch. The front brush on the RM34, as I mentioned earlier, we have three options: soft, medium and hard bristle. The brush is an optional extra, but something that a lot of groundsmen really enjoy and see the benefits of using. So I can set the brush up or down. For the purpose of the video, I've slackened these two nuts off already on both sides. That allows me now to adjust the brush down or adjust the brush up once you've got it in the desired height, you lock those bolts up, and that's it set. So the brush acts as a flicking action. Some people use that as a dew brush just to remove the dew and the moisture off the leaf of the plant prior to mowing. But also now where we're seeing a lot more worm casts on lawns and pitches, it just breaks those up and eliminates them so that we're not flattening them, killing the grass. Brush is a great feature, and as I say, we can adjust it to be as aggressive or non-aggressive as you wish. So now we've set our height of cut and we've adjusted our brush accordingly, we're just going to look at the controls of the mower. It's very simple and easy to use. From the control point of view, when we start the engine, we've already said the engine is up to maximum speed. It's an easy start engine, so there's no choke, no fuel on and off. It's literally a case of push the lever forward, pull the cord, we're up to maximum RPM. Pushing this lever back here switches the mower off. Once the engine's running and we're up to maximum RPM, we can select a gear. So the machine's fitted with a 5-speed gearbox. So effectively we can set that from 1 to 5. We have down here the gear select mechanism. N stands for neutral. So the first click is gear 1, gear 2, gear 3, gear 4 and gear 5. In my opinion, gear 5 is a transport speed. You don't really want to be using that for cutting or for vacuuming even. It's really too quick, but it is useful as a transport speed to and from the pitch. We adjust the gears down, so we can select, I've just selected gear 3 there. So if we are using the machine to cut, I would recommend that we don't go higher or faster than gear 3 because we want to be doing a good job. So vacuuming, we can use 1, 2, 3 or 4 from a speed point of view. Also depends, we can set the gears to suit the walking pace of the operator, so again, because it has to be comfortable. So once we've selected our gear, we've started the engine, we can actually drive it to the pitch just by bringing what we call the bail bar up here. If we bring it up slowly, it'll take the drive up of the mower slowly. When we want to engage the blades, to start the blades turning, I have what we call a dead man's handle or operator presence lever here. I need to raise that up, so that's raised. I tip the mower back and then I engage the blade engagement lever there, let the blades get up to speed, drop the mower down, and I can then bring in the drive lever to drive the mower forward. So the bail bar holds your operator presence or dead man's handle up. The most important thing to remember, if you get into trouble at any time, is to let go. Always remember that throughout. Or always make sure that you read the manuals prior to operating the machines. So once as we're travelling along in our 4th or 3rd gear, whatever we've selected, when I get to the end, I can slow it down on my bail bar, keep my operator presence lever raised, slow it down, tip back and drive the machine round. Once I've drove it round at the end of the pitch, drop it down, bring the drive back in again, and that's the drive back in that full gear. When the grass bag's full, I can disengage the blades, I can let go of my dead man's handle, I can now empty the grass bag. Once I've finished, I can switch off on the operator control. For operator comfort, we can adjust the height of the handlebars. So we can adjust them either on these 2 rods here by taking the bars out, and we have several holes on the side of the handlebars which can lift or lower the top section. Or we also have adjustment down at the base of the handlebar here, where we've got 3 hole settings, again for pivoting the handlebar up or down, because operator comfort is very important. So the RM34 is fitted with a handbrake. So to apply the handbrake, we pull that up, lock that in, the handbrake's now applied. That's really handy to use if it's transporting the machine around on a trailer. Fitted to the rear of the machine is a 3-section rear roller, heavy duty with sealed differential. So 3 sections meaning, so when we tip the mower back and we turn at the ends of the pitch, 1 section's going forward, 1 section is going back, makes the turning a lot easier, but also less damage to turf. The mower comes with a grass bag. It's 90 litre capacity, and one of the questions you always get told is that the grass bag looks really small compared to the width of the mower. What I always say is that the grass bag will take 90 litres, or we can get up to 38 kilos of wet grass in this bag. We don't want 38 kilos of wet grass. We want to make sure that we're regularly emptying. So when this grass bag gets 50% full, it needs to be emptied. To fit the grass bag to the machine, we have a handle on the top, so we put it underneath the machine. We also have a flap at the back of the machine, the flap goes through the handles and the two brackets fit into the recess on the back of the back plate. We have little very fine holes in the grass bag. Because we're sucking in air and we're sucking in debris as well, we need to be able to expel that air through the grass bag. What will happen over winter months or in very wet conditions, these holes in the grass bag will become blocked. That will then reduce the amount of suction we're getting from the machine and reduce the performance. So it's really important when the machine is cleaned out underneath the guard, we also clean out the grass bag, we also clean out the chute as well. Fitted to the handlebars is a universal scraper. So this scraper we can use for cleaning out the chute. So to remove the grass bag, I lift up, which releases these two clips here, drop the grass bag back, take that out the way. So in wet conditions, we said that we'll start and get build-up of in the chute. So I lift this up again. We never do this with the engine running, and I can scrape and clean the chute underneath. This also acts as a scraper as well if you wanted to scrape the deck. But when you finish using the machine, we can also use this as a stand. So the base of the scraper acts as a foot, and what we can do, lift the machine up, put the scraper underneath there. I'm now able to actually wash that machine out underneath to keep that clean. Once as we've done that, remove the stand, drop that down. The top of that stand just fits into a little tube which is mounted underneath the deck. Always replace the scraper back to where we found it. Ready for next time. To start the RM34, I push the lever forward here. I have no choke, I have no fuel on and off. Literally pull start. Then what I can do, I can bring the rear bail bar lever in slowly, and that will actually take the drive up very slowly as well. So the whole machine is quite manoeuvrable. So from a turning perspective, I can tip back and I can drive that around. So you're feathering the drive with the rear bail bar. If I let go, everything stops. The switch off on the lever. It's then important to engage the blade. So again, we pull the lever forward, give it a pull. Always make sure that you tip the mower back onto the rear roller. We'll raise the dead man's handle and then engage the blades. Let the blades get up to speed. We can then start and move off. But again, to get into trouble, let go. That's the most important thing. If I let go with the blades engaged, because we're fitted with a blade brake system on this machine, so that means that once as we let go, the blades are actually stop rotating within 2 seconds. But I can't start the machine now with the blades engaged. It will just not start. So we disengage the blades. I can push the lever forward, pull again, and we're ready to carry on. With having the brush on the front, which is a great feature, we also have 3 different brushes that are available. We have soft, medium and hard, although medium is our most popular model, is we can adjust that brush up or down to be more aggressive or less aggressive, just dependent on the time of year. It also opens up the top of the surface just to allow a little bit more air circulation within the sward of the plant. So from a maintenance perspective with the RM34, we want to make sure that we use clean fuel. And we also make sure that when we refuel, there's no grass clippings in and around the top of the tank. We also make sure before every use we check the oil level, because we mentioned before the mower will actually use oil over a period of time just because of the nature of the engine's working hard. I've removed the front cover for the purpose of the video. We've got 2 grease points on the spindle, both left and right here. They just need greasing probably every 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. Just 1 pump of grease. You don't need to go too extravagant on there. One thing that is key to get the best out of this mower is making sure that it is cleaned underneath the deck, because over time in damp, wet conditions, you will start to get a build-up of that material. What you don't want to do is let that material dry out, get hard, and then more material build to that, because it will prohibit the performance of the machine. Make sure that it's kept clean underneath. The chute at the back is also kept clean, because as I said, we're sucking a lot of debris, a lot of air. We need to expel that air. The grass bag, we mentioned before, needs to be kept clean, again, to aid performance. But what we also have on top is we have shroud cover that enables us to clean from inside. So again, it's just keeping the machine very simply cleaned, and the maintenance features in place, so that you can come back to the machine and reuse that at any time. The rear roller is driven via a V-belt, and what will happen from new, the belts will stretch a little bit, but they'll also bed into the pulleys as well. So what the rule of thumb is, so how we know that these bail bars are set correctly and the belts are set correctly, is when I bring this up, nothing happens until I get a 30mm gap from the bottom of the handlebar to the bail bar. What will happen, the belts will stretch from new, so instead of it taking the drive up at 30mm, it starts to take it up then at 20mm. So what you'd need to do as part of your maintenance regime means that the belts need adjusting. So if you follow the cable down from the lever, you've got what we call a midway adjuster in the cable. So keep the lock nut finger tight, one rotation on that adjuster, screwing it apart anti-clockwise, lock that back up. That's actually taking your drive now back to 30mm on the handlebar. It might be something that you have to do maybe twice in 1 year, but pretty much after that you won't need to adjust it. Once it's just allowing the belts to bed in and stretch a little bit. From an oiling and maintenance point of view, it'll be worth just using a little bit of universal oil down the cables. Again, probably every 6 to 8 weeks, but also on the adjusters as well, just to keep them lubricated. Key features, as mentioned before, is just keeping the machine clean, keeping it greased, and with clean fuel and oil. Thank you.